Our Honorable Minister, the Right Honorable Lisa Hanna, I know, I was just joking. Honorable Minister, members of the Diplomatic Corps, friends from abroad, friends from the university, friends from Jamaica. Welcome to the 3rd Annual International Reggae Conference held at the University of the West Indies, Mona, Kingston. The International Reggae Conference is hosted by the Reggae Studies Unit, the Institute for Caribbean Studies, and the Office of the Principal. I'm your host today, Lloyd Waller. Today we have a very interesting program, and for the next couple of days we have a very interesting set of programs as it relates to looking at the International Reggae Conference. The conference is actually a seminal component of the Reggae Month and the Black History Month, and will celebrate the 68th anniversary of the birth of Jamaica's premier cultural ambassador, the Honorable Robert Nesta Marley. And we will be having the annual Bob Marley lecture this evening. Now today we have several individuals who can be argued to be significant and icons in the international reggae arena. May we have our introductions today by Dean. Dr. Hope is the first presenter here. Doctors, we have our opening remarks by you. All right, thanks.
Honorable Minister, Dr. Hope of the Institute of Caribbean Studies, where the Reggae Studies Unit is, visitors from abroad, colleagues, friends, welcome. My task as Dean of the Faculty of Humanities and Education is to extend a warm welcome to all of you to the 3rd International Reggae Conference, sponsored by the Institute of Caribbean Studies and the Office of the Principal. I have no doubt that the next 3 days you'll have first-rate discussions, exchange of ideas, and I know the program also promises rich elements of performance. I want to commend the Institute and Dr. Hope for putting together this conference for the 3rd time, and to say a special welcome to the Minister, Honorable Lisa Hanna. Minister, we know that you are really returning to one of your homes in the Faculty of Humanities and Education. It is my first opportunity as Dean. I mean, by the time I became Dean, you had graduated, but it's my first opportunity to publicly thank you for an initiative under your care and guidance, which in fact provided the faculty with very important computer lab facilities, the Ashcroft Lab. And I want to say thanks again very much for that initiative. And that was when the minister was a final year student. She was not yet a minister. So if she could work miracles as a 3rd-year student, we continue to look forward to the miracle wands being waved as minister in charge of all these facilities. Oh dear, all right. Minister, it's on tape, you know, so we will. The truth is, though, we know where your heart is. In fact, I was struck by a report of an address you made, I think, 2 weeks ago, or a week and a half ago, at the first of the series of Sunday sessions put on by, I think, the Music Museum at the Institute of Jamaica. And if I'm to be guided by the reports in the newspaper, they said you put aside your prepared text and spoke from your heart. And you spoke about issues which very much relate to what we try and do in the Faculty of Humanities and Education here at University of West Indies. Issues of memory, identity, self-knowledge, really groundation. And in a sense, sometimes you work in an institution like this and you hear all sorts of comments querying the value of the humanities or their relevance. Just as recently as a week ago, on a well-listened talking calling program, which I only get to hear when I'm in the car, we don't have time to do it in our offices, someone did raise the issue whether we need to realign priorities and what is the value of the humanities, why aren't we putting more money into engineering and, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The best engineer, the most advanced scientist, the most well-trained doctor, without groundation and context and knowledge of where he's operating, and most importantly, about himself or herself, I'm not sure ultimately the sustainable value of what they do. They need some groundation and focus about issues of identity. And certainly, it is impatient of debate that the activities of the Institute of Caribbean Studies and the larger faculty seek to address those issues in various ways. And in that regard, the Reggae Conference, International Reggae Conference, is vital and important. We are celebrating, no doubt, one of this island's most everlasting gifts to a larger global world. It's an opportunity for us not to rest on our laurels or to big up ourselves, but really to sit and intelligently ask ourselves where we are, where is the music, and where can it take us, and where can we take it. In that regard, the conference is crucial. And I want to say again a special welcome and to commend Dr. Hope for putting this program together, and to wish you all the very best the next 3 days of grounding, of talking, the sessions, informal and formal. Thank you very much, and welcome all again to University of West Indies. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dean. Of course, we know that the International Reggae Conference is international and has a number of affiliates across the world. Right now, we have greetings from Sabrina Trouvot from the Rotterdam Institute, and this is actually greetings from Europe. Katrina?
Ladies, gentlemen, good morning. On behalf of the Rototom staff, I would like to thank Dr. Donna Hope and the whole organizing team of the International Reggae Conference for the kind invitation. It's a real pleasure to be in such a prestigious event representing Rototom Sunsplash in the year of its 20th edition. Together with the university, we have decided to bring you the feeling of our festival through various events. A photographic exhibition with more than 100 pictures will be on display for the next 3 days in the Assembly Hall, and we show you the colors and the faces of Rototom Sunsplash. We will tell you what our festival is through 2 sessions of the conference. The first one, titled An Introduction to Rototom Sunsplash, will give us the chance to talk about the concept of the festival, about our history and our philosophy. We will also screen a special documentary shot during the 2011 edition, a film that features entertainers, reggae personalities, philosophers, and social activists, explaining how reggae music in Europe has inspired the commitment of a better world, and how the message of peace, love, and unity can be translated into facts. The second meeting, on Saturday, will showcase a typical session of the Rototom Reggae University. Born in 2007, the Reggae University is a series of public meetings inside the festival where reggae journalists, writers, academics, and performing artists get together to discuss about important aspects of reggae history and culture and to interact with the audience. Chaired, as usual, by David Katz, Ellen Collins, Pete Lilly, and Pier Tosi, this special session will explore the recent evolution of Jamaican music together with the popular vocalist Proto J, the rising singer, poet Janine, the legendary musician China Smith, and the writer-activist Datti Bookman. Finally, a screening of the documentary Jamaica Mon Amour will show our love for this country. The movie was filmed during a special media tour in 2008 to launch the festival 15th edition and show Jamaica through the eyes of European people traveling the island for the first time in the name of their strong affection for reggae music and Bob Marley. I hope you will come and join us. Thanks. One love.
Thank you very much. Of course, none of this would actually be possible without the assistance of our sponsors. The International Reggae Conference has actually enjoyed a number of contributions to the event itself. Today we have one of our sponsors who will be bringing greetings on behalf of the other sponsors, but specifically for their particular contribution, Mr. Robert Russell, chairman of the Reggae Sumfest. Mr. Russell.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. Minister Hanna, it's always a pleasure to see you at these cultural events. You are an icon in our culture, and Dr. Donna Hope. Thank you for organizing this conference and for inviting us to participate. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Summerfest Productions Limited, producers of Reggae Sumfest, I wish to congratulate Dr. Donna Hope and her team for organizing the 2013 International Reggae Conference. We at Reggae Sumfest are 100% committed to spreading the gospel of reggae and echo the sentiments of the conference in striving for the continued development of Jamaica's music. We recently witnessed how Jamaica and our music shared pride of place during the NFL Super Bowl. We also saw a tribute to Bob Marley recently on TV. And I don't know if you understand the impact that this exposure has for Jamaica and for the Jamaican music. This went into millions of homes, and you can't buy that kind of exposure. You can't buy that kind of advertising. Reggae Sumfest attracts some 6,000 visitors every year, spending, by the tourist board's estimation, $1,500 by the time you finish with the hotel and the transportation and the food and everything else, which equates to some $9 million US dollars. It's a fantastic injection into our economy in a very short space of time, in a week. And we also carry Reggae Sumfest on BET, which goes into another 100 million homes across the United States of America. These concerts give exposure. The Jazz and Blues, Reggae Sumfest, these concerts give exposure to our music and influences visitor travel to our shores. We can't do a festival like Reggae Sumfest without sponsorship, however, because receipts at the gate are not enough to cover the tremendous cost of staging an event like this. So without sponsors, we really are not able to function. And I want to just say a word of thanks to the companies that sponsor reggae music and sponsor Reggae Sumfest. As we get ready to put on the 21st staging of our festival, the Summerfest production team pledges that Reggae Sumfest is here to stay. We believe that Montego Bay is the finest venue for entertainment in the Caribbean, and we have no plans to move from Montego Bay. We want to try to do a second festival, maybe in the winter, maybe a winter fest, along with the summer fest. Because we believe that the more festivals, the more exposure that you can give to the music is the better off we will be. There was an event that was staged last night, the Seafood Festival in Montego Bay, and I'm telling you, my heart was filled when I saw the amount, thousands of people that turned out to support that event. It was as big as a Reggae Sumfest Friday night or a Saturday night. Little short of the dance all night, but it was over 10,000 people. And that was saying a lot for a festival that was staged for the first time in Montego Bay. And it was for a good cause. It was for the hospital in Montego Bay. And with that, they will get some much needed equipment from the proceeds of that event. Our participation in this year's International Reggae Conference is just the start of what we see as a long and mutually beneficial relationship with the Caribbean, with the University of the West Indies, and the Caribbean Institute of Media and Communications. For our part, we look forward to welcoming some of the university students to our team as we plan future stagings of Reggae Sumfest. In closing, on behalf of the Reggae Sumfest team, I take this opportunity to thank the University of the West Indies for inviting us to participate in these discussions and wish the International Reggae Conference a success. We will stage a presentation on Saturday, which will be audiovisual and a presentation as well. So we're happy to be here. We support you 100%. May you grow from strength to strength. And may Minister Hanna have mercy on the festivals and give us some more sponsorship. Thank you very much.
I would just like to acknowledge the other sponsors are Grace, Usinko, their water brand, as well as Yao restaurant, which one is actually on the campus over by the student union for anybody who would be interested in some nice Asian cuisine. Now we have a very controversial event, well, component of the function right now. I was actually asked to do the cultural component, and I had planned to come and sing a song today. However, after after an incident at the Department of Government's Christmas party, a memo was sent across the university banning me from doing any form of vocal performance. So I have to now introduce the cultural item. Is the cultural item here? Where is the cultural item? Okay, sir? I just want you to know that I gave up my spot for you. Okay, all right.
We give thanks, man. We give thanks. Anna, bless. Yes, greetings. Blessed morning. Yes, Empress Donna Hope. Enough respect, Mama Lisa. Yes, the great Ras Michael in the place. Give thanks. Give thanks to the gathering. Yeah, Mr. Herbie Miller. The whole works. Well, this one is called Reggae Music. Jamaica. Authentic music. You know, this is one of the world chronologists, archaeologists, anthropologists, the informative historyman and a musicologist. I'm not a philanthropist, but what I did is a pure philanthropy. Empress got it all up. reggae music. Reggae is Jamaican's music. I love no love it and don't abuse it. Reggae music. Reggae is Rasta music. I love no love it and don't abuse it. Reggae music. Reggae is the people's music. I love no love it and don't abuse it. Reggae music. Love it and don't refuse it. Big up the people them who help to publish it. May come to consolidate and disseminate the global impact our music create. Revival, mento, jazz, and ayabinge. Ska, blue beat, and then we have rock steady. Reggae music starting at the late 60s. Dancehall music starting at the late 70s. Slim and Sam, two away ancient singer. Them a sing long before studio come round ya. The first record one making a Jamaica, 1953. Sims and Robinson do it. What was the name of this song? Till the end of time. Record a standing motor. Keep that in your mind. The first reggae song one making a Jamaica. Wanna please write it down on piece of paper. This a serious matter. Nobody take it for joke. Larry Marshall sing this song, Nanny Goat. Reggae music. Reggae is Rasta music. I love no love it and don't abuse it. Reggae music. Reggae is Jamaican's music. I love no love it and don't abuse it. Reggae music. Love it and don't refuse it. Big up the people them who help to publish it. Reggae music. Reggae is the people's music. Love and no love it and don't abuse it. Mr. Vajan keep the first talent show in a Jamaica. What was the name of the show? Opportunity Hour. The first recording studio in a Jamaica, 1951. That was Stanley Motor, downtown Kingston, Hanover Street area. West Indies was second, owned by Siaga. Federal was third. Just listen to me culture. West Indies changed to Dynamic some year later. Ken Curry established the first record label. 1954 it began Yard and Broad. The name of the label, Federal Record. History man depend them mic and me lyrics them hard. The first time me hear the name Reggae mention. A Toots did a sing bout do the reggae song. The bell tones them sing a next great reggae song. No more heartache is the name of this song, reggae music. Reggae is Jamaican's music. I love and no love it and don't abuse it. Reggae music. Love it and don't refuse. Big up the people them. All right. Big youth are we first entertainer. Forget a worldwide tour from out of Jamaica. 1972 in Chabernier and far. I am a real first big superstar. 66 Alton sing the song one name Rocksteady. That name was invented by Alton and Scully. Raymond Harper, Jamaica greatest trumpeter. Ernie Ranglin, Jamaica greatest guitar player. The first worldwide hit song out of Jamaica. Get on a paper and a pen and no write down that. Millie Small sing the song name My Boy Lollipop. The first number one to put Jamaica on the map. All right, again, 1971, no must remember. King Tubby's with the first dub single. Here that one you know. Jamaica first DJ name Count Matthew. After him come King Stitch, then Daddy Uri. So don't ask me where reggae music come from. Indigenous music from Jamaica and it influence hip hop and reggaeton. This is the informative history man reggae music. Reggae is Jamaican's music. I love and no love it and don't abuse it. Reggae music. Reggae is Rasta music. I love and no love it and don't abuse. Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, and Bonnie Wheeler, Judy Mowat, Rita Marley, and Marcia. Them take the reggae music all over. East, west, north, and south to the four corner. So don't ask me where reggae music come from. Indigenous music from Jamaica, and it influence hip-hop and reggaeton. This is the informative history, man. Reggae begin at Jamaica. In America, it big up in England, in Canada, it big up in Japan and in China. Reggae big up in Europe and in Asia. It big in Africa. This is history man from out of Jamaica. So enough respect to all reggae lover. Put on hand them in the ear and wave them all over. Reggae music. At a fireball. Give thanks.
I'm just saying between my voice and his voice, I actually see a potential for a Grammy, right? I will talk to you off the air about it. Now we have the introduction of the minister. But before the introduction, just quickly, I would like to say that I have psychic abilities because I was on the guild with Minister Hanna, and even at that point there was more than an indication of her leadership qualities and capacity, and I can go a little bit further in my psychic abilities to say that I won't say it. One day I may say the honorable, the right honorable. Troy, folks, is supposed to be introducing the minister, and again, this young man was a student of mine last year. Excellent leadership potential, very brilliant student, and very, very involved in the issues of the day. Mr. Folks, I'm very glad to see that you're one leader is introducing another leader.
Thank you, Dr. Waller. I met the minister this morning, and she was very, in her humility, she said I must only introduce her as Youth and Culture, Minister of Youth and Culture, and also, I think, the Minister of Parliament. But I'm going to make it very short for everybody. To begin with, she is the political representative for the Southeast St. Anne constituency, which she serves since 2007. She's also a graduate of the Queens High School. Anybody in the house from Queens? One person. That's good. And she also boasts Pelican Pride because she's a graduate of the University of the West Indies from the Arts and Humanities, no, Humanities and Education. She has a degree, bachelor's degree and a master's degree in communications from the same faculty. She has, I would say, international presence. And this international presence, many of you know, being the 1993 Miss World and Miss World titles, beauty pageant, which is very good. Away from that, you heard earlier, for those who were not here, that during her time being on the Guild at the University of the West Indies, she helped to establish the Ashcroft Computer Lab. And I think that is something that she should be applauded for because it's still in operation today because of her intervention and intuition. At this time, I'd just like for you to help me welcome to the 2013 station of the International Reggae Conference, Ms. Lisa Anna, to be our guest speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Troy. Let me start off by saying how happy I am to be on campus. I'm always pleased when I'm on this campus. It gives me something that nothing else gives me in life, peace of mind. And the University of the West Indies, I went to school here, I worked here, I taught here, and some of my best friends, who still remain my friends today, were made here. So I just want to thank the university and persons like the late, great Agri Brown for helping me to be in this position that I am today. I would not be here were it not for the University of the West Indies. And let all naysayers say nay. Let me say good morning to our Dean of the faculty, Dr. Wilmot, and the stellar work that he's doing. Dr. Hope, who she and I were at Caramac together, albeit she was a little ahead of me, and to congratulate her for her research and the work she continues to do at the university. Herbie Miller from the Jamaica Music Museum out of the Institute of Jamaica, which falls under the Ministry of Youth and Culture. Other very, very distinguished researchers here from the Institute of Caribbean Studies and other faculties and departments at the university. Students, teachers, other persons who are visiting from here and abroad, a very pleasant good morning. I'm not going to put away the script this morning because I feel it is important to really delve a little bit deeper into some of the things that are important. But before I go on, happy Valentine's Day. It's a work day, so some of us forget that it's actually the day of love. Let me immediately disappoint those of you who have come here this morning expecting me to join any debate about when is the best time of year for two significant observances, that of Black History Month and that of Reggae Month. I will say two things. One, I am conscious of where I come from, and two, every day in Jamaica is Reggae Day. But there could be no more of an opportune time to focus on national and an international reflection on this phenomenal cultural form and one of the greatest manifestations of our creative imagination than during the birth month of the undisputed king of reggae, the Honorable Robert Nesta Marley. It is significant that the International Reggae Conference of 2013 is being spearheaded by the University of the West Indies, the centerpiece of intellectual thought in the Caribbean. Let me from the outset congratulate Dr. Hope and the organizers for their vision and their insight as they seek to stimulate and advance the ongoing intellectual assessment and reflection that must help to propel our culture to its rightful place as a potent force of social and economic liberation. How excellent it is to recall the prophecy of Marcus Garvey, who decades ago said that we have a culture that will one day astonish the world. And the world continues to give fulfillment to his prophecy. The Jamaican culture, so aptly represented by reggae music, remains for many an enigma which has shattered many classical theories and has given rise to a small island developing state emerging as a global powerhouse of cultural identity and influence. We salute all the reggae ambassadors for their work and work in the creation and promotion of this world-class product. And I want to pay a special tribute as I pause to congratulate Jimmy Cliff for his recent Grammy Award. Cliff has crossed many, many rivers, and he continues to cross them valiantly, bringing glory and recognition to himself and to our country. It is at this river that I wish to begin today. Reggae is and has always been the music of the crossing, and this nation of ours is at a critical crossings, an economic, social, cultural, and ideological crossing. It is reflected in our music, which some may argue is now stepped into the futility of nobody can cross it. We have made it through many, many rivers and moved away from the stationary position on the banks of the rivers of Babylon over 50 years ago. This powerful imagery was provided by the artist Paul Hamilton for students who would like to see a little or hear a little bit more. Today, at the other end of this trajectory of transition, I am struck and even concerned by the emerging tone of reggae's lyrics, which throughout the history of our music have been an excellent barometer of the mood, frustrations, ruminations, aspirations, and intentions of the Jamaican people and our urban youth in particular. Over time, the defiance of the harder they come has become the yearning of better must come, as film and music converge with the language and tone of the streets. Music messages have transformed from "you can get it if you really want" to "not nah go on for we." This generational change is also seen in reggae's embrace of the struggle of others outside of the national cultural space and is brought home forcefully by our reggae icon Bob Marley in one of my favorite tunes, Zimbabwe, that to divide and rule can only tear us apart, and that every man has a right to decide his own destiny, and in this judgment, there can be no partiality. So arms in arms with arms, we continue to fight this little struggle, because that's the only way that we will overcome our little trouble. Our nation at that time was assisting other nations towards justice and freedom. Today, as we struggle with our economic and other social challenges, reggae music can help us to reach into our past and extract from it the values, attitudes, and systems that had propelled us forward in the past and are able to do so for us today in Jamaica's future. This conference is positioned and must provide this look into the rearview mirror of time and place, and so put us on a forward path to prosperity, and cause that the only way we can overcome our little trouble, which is in reality not so little. Reggae has also advanced the philosophy of equal rights and justice, and I want to fast forward a generation to Junior Gong, Marley's son, who tells us that justice are what the youths them really need overall. The way them deal with mankind, even my gal start ball. And if you go through his song, you would also see that the youths are balling out, and you hear the ghetto youths balling out. And if you go forward a little bit more into the lyrics, if baby want feed and can't find it, the big 45 is going to scout it. It is a clear indication that the more things change, somehow the more they remain the same. That must occupy our thoughts as we gather here today. I urge you to make rebuilding of a national confidence through music an important element of your deliberations over these 2 days as you examine both content and structure of the music that Jamaica has offered to the world. The fact that today youth believe in their protection of turf rather than collective responsibility for all is a problem. When Trenchtown man stop laugh and block off traffic and them wheel and pop off and them start clap it is a perfect example of perhaps why many of our youth turn to crime and violence to sound their opposition against the system. I'm going to leave it to the academics among us, like Dr. Hope and others, to provide the more rigorous appraisal of the evolution and current status of reggae in its various manifestations, to look at it as a part of Black philosophy, as religion, as protest music, as a reflection of the Jamaican livity and the social, political, and economic reality of our struggle, and as reggae as a powerful creative asset in the national and economic development of our country. Your analysis will answer the questions of how, why, when, and where, regarding not only the music itself, but its impact on identity, as seen in the ICS's important cultural studies, including Donna's research on masculinity in the dancehall. And certainly, it must seek to examine our national direction and movement over time, seen in Sonia Stanley Nayer's dancehall geographies. We must examine the values of our music seen in Dr. Howard's research, although through the ICS, and delve deeply into the significance of the contribution of reggae stalwarts, looking back and looking forward, through work including that of Herbie Miller at the Jamaica Music Museum. As we do this, I want to share with you a few ideas about both the content and structure associated with reggae, the music and its attendant industries. First, I want to examine the role of reggae music as a catalyst for change, a music of action, a music of passion and revolution. I want to urge us to consider how powerful music can be to effect social change at home as it is overseas. I then want to take a little time to discuss the nuances of policy development for this and other related industries that fall to the government of which I'm a part. It goes without saying that there's an urgent need for a social and cultural revolution in Jamaica. It is a revolution to restore sanity to our social relations, to the end of murder, the end of bloodshed, and the abuse of our children. I want to also say that the Crown Prince, Dennis Brown, asked us, do we really know what it means to fight and to have a revolution? What part can reggae play, any part, in this revolution? Can the music today again contribute to this quest to build a platform of collective engagement? Can reggae help to advance a cultural revolution to work for the collective good, for the triumph of good over evil? Can it revive passions and decry apathy, especially amongst our young people? I want to take a moment to recall the contribution of Rastafari to the contribution and the development of reggae music. From Marley to Mortimer Plano, to Count Ozzy, to Ras Michael, and so many others, the Rastafari philosophical platform of the music has been legendary. It has encapsulated the immortal one love motif and the positive imagery of Africa that reggae has promoted. I take a moment to acknowledge the important research by the Institute of Caribbean Studies, Jelani Nayo, in this area. In advancing the positive cultural revolution today, it is important to recall that the African societies from which we emerged were known for positive traits like the centrality of family. African societies placed great store on our men living up to their financial and emotional responsibilities towards their partners and their families. In our African value system, women supported their men in their economic pursuits, even as they committed and provided caring for their children and families. And even though we see somehow a blurring of the lines, especially at the University of the West Indies, I just want to say that in the nuance of supporting family and supporting our men, I really want to say it is about supporting each other. At the heart of traditional African cultures was the importance of community. Where is our sense of community today? Can we really bring back the love? The needed revolution that I speak about calls upon all of us to engage through our culture in the promotion of positive values and philosophies that must underpin any project for national development. Like our ancestors before us, we must use our music and our culture for the unleashing of the positive and creative energies of our people in a total commitment to national restoration. It would be naive of me to not make the connection between three sociological realities we face and issues to do with political economy. We all know that our current economic situation requires a very bold approach to economic development based on innovation, not only of action, but of thought. To do this, we have to have a clear understanding of what really our realities are and the impact that they will have on our economy, on our music, and the music in our economy. The truth is that much of our creative material is being developed. And I want to just quote Dr. Hicklin, where she mentions that with intimate spaces where individuals sit behind computer screens, in bedrooms and in living rooms, churning out creative materials amidst domestic realities, creative workers share creative spaces and facilities with each other. They barter services where money is short. And she goes on extensively. I'm aware, too, that changing the content of our music requires the empowerment of these very creative practitioners. These producers and creators of our music are the bridges between content and structure within the cultural and creative industries and economy. This is an important construct that is being widely discussed within academia. It is also a central consideration for me as a legislator and minister, as it directly affects the work I now have to do and the time I have to work within government structures seeking to develop the policies that will grow this and other related industries. And I want to spend a little bit more time on this part of it with you this morning. My job as a Minister of Youth and Culture within the structures of government is to formulate policy structures, yes. And that is what cultural and the creative concept is. It began as a policy imperative for governments providing funding for cultural and creative industries back in the 1980s. It has now evolved way beyond that. Much has been said, both good and bad, about Brand Jamaica in the current era of the local and global economic recession. The opinion remains divided too on the real worth of Jamaica's undoubtedly high cultural currency, as reflected in the increased high-profile association with things Jamaican in the global media, particularly film and now the corporate advertising media. Together converged, these elements make up what are being called the cultural and creative industries and economy. The consideration of these creative and cultural economies in Jamaica at this time includes, but is much, much larger than the consideration of the concepts we read in books such as Creative City and the focus or symbol creators. It also it is also a broader policy concept that the focus on only the music and recording industries is not enough. That is now a very dated approach. The creative and cultural economy has to be seen holistically. To truly understand our creative and cultural economy, it is important to know where these have come from and to know the professionals who work in it and to seek to get into it. They come from music, dance, drama, production, ICT, and they all work together beyond the narrow scope of just the music industry. The cultural and creative industries policy formulation therefore requires for us to have a holistic developmental policy approach that is based on private and public sector partnerships. When this government speaks of private and public sector partnerships, we're not speaking about only the large captains of the industry and holders of capital. We're speaking about the individual Jamaicans acting in their private capacities as musicians, sound engineers, producers, and other creative workers who have built this industry into what it is, almost in spite of us as government. I want to also say that I'm sure your research will show that the changing structures of the music and certainly the recording industries over time is in keeping with and reflect the representative changing political ideologies of our times. While the cultural and creative industries have over time sought to separate themselves from the political agenda, and in particular, politicians, at the core of the messages sustained through time has been a progressive ideological position which is, despite popular belief, a shared one. I say that to say that this process requires public and private sectors to work together to develop the plan of action. At this phase of our development, cultural and creative industries and our policy development is a development imperative that is on our priority and our agenda. Already, we have completed quite a bit of work. On this matter, I conclude that the time is ripe for the creative and cultural industries policy agenda to move forward, which it is doing. Part of the policy much of the work has already been done, and we accept that. The studies have been written. The analysis that tells us of the importance of our industries is in place. Bruno Mars' invitation to the Marley Brothers in their tribute to their father at the Grammy Awards speaks volumes. In addition, so does the use of reggae music by our reggae icon in the VW Get Happy commercial and campaign is something to speak about, despite many people in other spaces saying that turn the frown the other way around was the most important part of the commercial. We recognize what it did for our country at that time in that space. Part of the policy work that has been completed, I will speak about privately to some other persons here because they will be included in a number of the consultations. But I just want to say that we have to ensure, and we are ensuring, that the stakeholders, including the government, have a clear understanding of what the concepts really, really mean for us in a holistic way. So we've looked at what are the economic implications. We have looked at the many jobs and entrepreneurs that already exist in Jamaica as micro and small business operators. We have looked at the informal nature of these businesses. We have looked at the intricacies of registration, the legitimization and formalization of these micro-enterprises, despite the cultures, and we've looked at the knowledge that the simple inclusion of these informal activities, simply counting on cultural and creative work that is now being done in studios and by practitioners in bedrooms and living rooms, is not represented in the national figures, and we are working to change that and to include them as a part of the gross domestic product figures positively. But in addition to these economic and operational issues that we have been focusing on, the cultural and creative industries policy will present the blueprint for how these industries fit into our national development plan for social, the cultural, and ideological and philosophical development that I spoke about before, that revolution that is so critical. Our Prime Minister recognizes it, and so one of the objectives that she had put forward for us to do, and which is currently underway, is that Cultural and Creative Industries Policy Commission and a structured developmental plan. These are distinct but reflective of the policy and the thrust that we're working towards. And your own Deborah Hicklin's research on cultural and creative industries policy development in developing countries has identified Jamaica and 12 ministries of government, 6 direct and 6 indirect, that interface with this process. And we have done the consultations with these ministries, we have collected the data, and that submission will be going to Cabinet shortly for that Cultural Commission. And what you will have there is a one-stop shop where all the ministries will sit together, where you can now have the funding discussed at one time, you have the projects discussed at one time. It's coming out of the Prime Minister's office because she feels that it is a larger developmental agenda under the Ministry of Development, so that when you push culture, you're not just looking at ad hoc activities intended to make people feel nice, but it is an investment opportunity for the country to propel it forward, to compete within the global economy. So much of the work has been completed. I can speak for the Ministry of Youth and Culture, that a lot of the papers that were sitting there, a lot of the work that had been done, we've collated all of that, presented it, and all of that will now come to Cabinet, and that commission will be proposed. I know many people roll their eyes and think, oh Lord, another committee and another commission, but the truth is that the terms of reference for that commission has now been completed, and it will come to Cabinet very shortly for it to become a reality. Ladies and gentlemen, in closing, reggae has established Jamaica as the cultural capital of the world. Our mission must be to find the balance that will allow us to use the music to promote our positive identity and our spiritual values, while at the same time creating a product that can enhance our national economy. And if I can just say that my favorite Marley tune is about Dreddy having a mission. And Dreddy's got a job to do, and he has got to fulfill that mission. To see his hurt would be their greatest ambition. But we will survive in this world of competition, because no matter what they do, Dreddy keep on coming through. And no matter what they say, Dreddy did it every day, because Natty Dread rides again through the mystics of tomorrow. And the truth is that Jamaica will continue to ride against the mystics. The unity of our purpose, as one of reggae's most powerful messages, anchored in the hopes and aspirations of our people, has been echoed by Black Uhuru. And certainly, Black Uhuru goes on to say that everybody wants the same thing, but at the end of the day, it is solidarity that will take us through. Ladies and gentlemen, I congratulate you on this conference, and I really, really want to encourage the various participants to engage in robust conversation that will stimulate new ways of thinking, and doing so even as we interrogate our old ways. I invite us to look into the music and extract those modalities that can help to advance our national cause of economic growth and social re-engineering. Let the discourse awaken us to our own responsibility for the shaping of this society, so that grounded in the realities of our struggles today, it may lead us to pathways through which our nation will be redeemed. I wish for you a truly successful and groundbreaking International Reggae Conference 2013. Thank you.
Minister, thank you for taking out time out of your busy schedule today. I have a package here that is from the Institute for Caribbean Studies, the Reggae Studies Unit, as well as the University of the West Indies, and Dr. Hope herself, who has given you a copy of her latest book, right?
Her first
book, sorry, signed by Dr. Hope. I had to buy a copy. But anyway, thank you very much for coming. It was an excellent speech. Oh, sorry. Now the time we've all waited for. Well, the ending part, but the beginning also. Dr. Hope's closing remarks and the official opening of the ceremony. Dr. Hope, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Waller, and thank you for so ably chairing this morning's session. My remarks will be very brief because I know we want to get into the business of conference activities and all the other things that we have lined up for you. I want to start, of course, by really thanking everyone who has participated in what is another successful staging of the International Reggae Conference here on this campus, University of the West Indies, Mona. And before I go off into details, I want to remind all of us here in the audience and those who are listening elsewhere through the internet, our internet passengers with us here this morning through UETV, that, you know, reggae music and Jamaican music and culture, which is what we are showcasing here at the International Reggae Conference over the next 3 days, is really what we are about. We are here to recognize and to celebrate many things: Jamaican culture, the spread of Jamaican culture internationally, Jamaican cultural icons like Bob Marley and many others, the work of individuals who are documenting Jamaican culture, creating the music and culture, and spreading and disseminating this across the world for many people to enjoy. I want to recognize the contribution of individuals who are a part of this conference in different ways. Our sponsors are very important to us. For example, we have Reggae Sumfest. Robert Ross is in the house, and the other members of the Reggae Sumfest team will be joining us later on this week. We have Reggae, we have individuals from Rotterdam, Sunsplash, Sabrina, Gina, Pierre. I'm seeing you in the audience. I want to respect you for your contribution here with us for the International Reggae Conference, as well as for the work you have been doing over the last 20 years in spreading Jamaican culture through Rotterdam, Sunsplash, through Europe, and showcasing what we are here in Jamaica and how that has evolved in your own space and through your own interpretation. And of course, reminding us here that the Rotterdam Sunsplash exhibition is in the Assembly Hall, and we'll be retiring to the Assembly Hall for the official opening of that exhibition when we leave here. I also want to recognize Grace, Wizinka through their brand Water, and of course Yao Restaurant, which is here on the campus, for partnering with us as a part of the activities we do here. News Talk 93 FM, broadcasting live as we speak, are also a part of the sponsorship team for this conference. The Office of the Principal, Professor Gordon Shirley, who is not here, is away on official business. The Dean, Dr. Swithin Wilmot, and his office also contributed to the staging of the International Reggae Conference, though he did not say so in his remarks. And I want to thank the Office of the Open Campus, the Director's Office here. There are representatives of staff here who have again assisted us with space and long working hours to provide some of the activities and some of the packages and some of the things that you will be taking part in at the International Reggae Conference. My team, and there's a team, a very big team that is working behind the scenes. Some of them you see in t-shirts with the International Reggae Conference logo, some in polo shirts, some are sitting in the audience. The conference committee members, and they are all listed in the program booklet. I'm looking at some of them: Dr. Waller, Dr. Charles, Dr. Livingston White, Mrs. Jennifer White Clark. There are quite a few others in the audience I can't see: Mrs. Tanya Francis Thomas, Georgette McGlashin, who is my right hand, and Mrs. Jennifer White Clark, my other right hand, and Kenrick Sharp, who is a third hand somewhere, are, you know, people who are working very hard behind the scenes, along with our volunteers and student interns. Ms. Avaloy Forbes is the person running the registration desk with her team. And of course, individuals are taking care of the Reggae Village, which you are all going to visit and take part in and sample and purchase products from. That is located just beside the Mary C. Cole and directly before you get to the Philip Sherlock Center for the Creative Arts. We have a lot of activities and a lot of things that are available for you at this staging of the International Reggae Conference. I also want to recognize, and I will not continue until I do this, the presence of Professor Carolyn Cooper. Carolyn, could you stand, please? Professor Carolyn Cooper, the brain the brain and the creator and the initiator of the first international reggae conference, at that time called Global Reggae. Professor Cooper also initiated the Reggae Studies Unit, the Bob Marley Lecture, which will be happening this evening. And she has provided immense creative energy and idea sources for a lot of the work that we do here. Many of us who are doing work on reggae and dancehall owe a lot of our early initiation to the work of Professor Caroline Cooper. So we have to recognize her contribution and thank her for her work. And Professor Cooper's presentation will be on Saturday morning at 11 in the Assembly Hall. You can go and hear her talk about Vybz Kartel's latest book. She will be doing that presentation. And of course, I would like to thank Lisa Hanna, Minister Hanna. She doesn't want me to call her that. We go very far back to our undergraduate days here at Carimac. We were here as undergraduates and graduate students. And personally, I'm very proud of Lisa's move, Lisa's leadership, you know, her own expansion of her leadership capacity, which she honed here on this campus. We all owe a great deal to the University of the West Indies Mona campus. People like myself and Lisa came to this campus and honed our skills and our abilities that have enhanced us and made us who we are today. So we continue to recognize and celebrate the University of the West Indies Mona campus and, of course, its contribution to our own lives. Lisa, I want to thank you personally for taking time out to be a part of our International Reggae Conference. I know your schedule is very tight and you're leaving here to go to another event right away. And also to thank you for the work that you're doing with Jamaican culture. I know you're very passionate about it and that you will add value to what is already there and spur on the kind of passion and encouragement and the kind of development that we really need to see in our music and our cultural frameworks. The creative industries need a lot of energy, a lot of thought, and a great deal of money to push them where they are intended to go. And I know that you are a very good steward over this part of our country's activity. I will not ask you for the money part that I heard Robert add to it, but you know, that is a part of what we all are looking forward to. And I know that we will continue to see development in Jamaica's cultural and creative industries under your steward. So thank you for joining us, and I wish you continued success in all that you do personally and politically. And of course, to all the participants who have flown here from all across the world. People are here from Trinidad, from Britain, from Egypt, from Sweden, from Germany, from Denmark, from the United States of America, from Canada, from all across the world. I want to welcome you all to this third staging of the International Reggae Conference. Remember that the University of the West Indies, Mona, is a very open and very hospitable campus, so you're free to wander around, not just at the campus activities, the conference activities, but what we have to offer on the campus. Remember to visit our registration desk so that you can get adequately registered and collect your conference packages. And you can visit our offices in the Institute of Caribbean Studies just beside the National Commercial Bank parking lot in that general location to meet some of the staff who have been working very hard on your behalf. We should be retiring to the Assembly Hall to open the Rotterdam Sunsplash exhibition. And so we did have that scheduled for midday. Perhaps we should retire to it directly so that we can do that. It should be a very short ceremony. So we will probably take a break and then we will retire, those of us who are still here, to the Assembly Hall at midday for the opening of the Rotterdam Sunsplash exhibition. I want to thank you all for joining our opening sermon this morning. And I want to say officially our conference has begun. Thanks to the MITS team, to the members of the media, and to everyone who has joined us at this point, and looking forward to your continued presence throughout the conference for all our proceedings and our presentations throughout today through until Saturday evening. Thank you.